Thousands of Hungarians opposing the rule of Viktor Orban and his Fidesz party have yet again taken the streets of Budapest. Magyar Tisza is leading in the polls, pointing to a possible shift in the balance of power. But is the social movement and momentum going to bring a change that could sway the pendulum and see an end of Viktor Orban's rule after the next parliamentary elections set to take place in April of 2026? Or perhaps the country is already in the event horizon of Russia? Joining me now is Bogdan Góralczyk, former ambassador and professor at the University of Warsaw, an expert on the subject of Hungary and its political history with a particular focus on Viktor Orban's phenomenon. Good evening, Professor. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
So we've seen a great many protests take place in Hungary, but we've seen another one take place today. What's the significance of today's events?
Hungary is divided, fragmented, and there is no one united society. Partially, we have the believers of Orban regime, and already for more than 1 year, we have a new phenomenon, quite new, which is Tisa party, which in Hungarian Tisztelet Respect and Freedom Party, which organized a kind of a referendum, national referendum, which was taking part in last month. And tonight, this afternoon, we see the pictures right now on the screen. There was a mass demonstration to finalize the questionnaire, because altogether there were 12 questions raised by the Tisa party, concerning mainly social issues, but 2 questions were absolutely political ones. For instance, how many terms should Prime Minister be in office? And it was suggested just 2 terms, it means 8 years. And how much is the salary, which is a question because Hungary, like it or not, is the most corrupted country in the European Union. And this was the finalization of this event. More than 1 million people participated. Maybe not tremendous success for 9.5 million of inhabitants of Hungary. However, it is once again confirmation that Péter Magyar, who is the leader of this party, is something which is a real political challenge towards Viktor Orban, which is a new situation in Hungary after 15 years already of Viktor Orban regime. And this is intriguing because in recent public opinion polls in Hungary, Tisa is ahead of Fidesz. That means that ahead of Viktor Orban's party. We will see what will happen. We still have 1 year to the next elections, but one thing needs to be raised as well, that Viktor Orban, since March 2020, since the beginning of the pandemic, is ruling by the decrees. And what more, a month ago, the parliament confirmed that he can rule as long as he wish. So it is prolonged rule by decree, and we will see what will be the final result, probably in next year at that time.
So if you were to break down, what's so particular about Magyar and Tisa that swayed people as the opposition party to join in the protest?
Well, Hungary is a leader in the European Union in 2 respects. And it is the most corrupted country in the European Union, confirmed by all available data. And Hungary, unfortunately, has the highest inflation rate also in the European Union. And of course, inflation, it means very expensive products in the shops, and the people are realizing that what Viktor Orban was promising is not fulfilled totally. On the other hand, Peter Magyar is we see him right now on the screen. He is very successful to promote the idea that it is the most corrupted government, the most corrupted leadership, and also administration. And the people realize that something is in. Initially, for more than a decade, Viktor Orban was enormously popular. Right now, everyone realized that he was fighting especially for himself and for his family. He centralized power. He monopolized also the wealth, which means that everything is going to his hands and his acolytes, his colleagues. And we have nothing else but oligarchy ruling Hungary right now. And that's why people are supporting Peter Magyar and his party.
So if Hungarians were to vote Fidesz and Orban out, would the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, allow democracy to actually take its course? And would he give up his power, or should we expect some other scenarios to take place?
I doubt very much in normal voting. As I mentioned, Viktor Orban is ruling by decrees, and he can rule by decrees 1 year more, or nobody knows for how long. And also he has all power in his hands, political power, economic power, also the uniforms power, if I may say so. That means the army, police, and so on and so on. And he will not give up because he is ruling by himself. This is one-man show. This is one-man rule, what Hungary is right now. That's why he will be fighting, and he is extremely experienced. This is also a very important factor. So we will see what will happen on domestic scene in Hungary. However, I suppose more important than the domestic scene is external situation, namely Donald Trump and the situation on the global markets, which is, as we know, turbulent and shaky. So it is extremely difficult to predict anything at this moment, because we are surprised by the events even next day. Every morning hours we are waking up and we have a new situation which has an impact for any country, and Hungary is especially vulnerable in this respect.
So very shortly, because I know that our time on the program is coming to an end, but what's next for Budapest? Let's say that the scenario that you mentioned just a second ago does not take place, and the voting takes place, Tisa wins, Fidesz loses. What happens in the event that the government would change in terms of the country's relationship with Russia? Peter Magyar, we didn't say anything about that. He is turning back Hungary towards Brussels, European Union, and Western Alliance. The problem is, so definitely Peter Magyar will not cooperate with Russia. He went to Ukraine. He was even in Bucha, the place of the massacre, which Viktor Orban will never come to his mind to go there. However, we will see what will be the international situation at that time next year, because Viktor Orban is proudly announcing so-called peacock dance, that he has very good personal contact with Mr. Putin, with Mr. Xi Jinping, and Donald Trump at the same time. But how to survive in good cooperation with Donald Trump when you have the biggest
Chinese investment on the territory of his country. So we will see what will happen. The situation, like everywhere, is extremely dynamic, but the winning of the Tisa party means back to Europe, back to European integration for sure.
Just as you mentioned, Professor, a lot is changing when it comes to the international scene. So we might find ourselves in April of 2026 in a completely different position from now. Professor Bogdan Góralczyk, former ambassador and professor at the University of Warsaw, was my guest. Thank you so much for joining, Professor.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. And so this would be all for now here on World News Tonight, but please do stay tuned. We're back in just a moment with more news and features.